Hey, what is up guys? So I'm here with Pink Reaper and we're going to be talking about skill in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's a topic that I think that we should have a nice discussion about. In front of you guys, you won't see Yu-Gi-Oh! Surprisingly. There's actually a game called Starcraft 2. It is actually a game that I like to...
Starcraft? Never heard of it.
But it's a RTS game, which means it's a real-time strategy game. I would say as far as the gaming community go, it's probably one of the most respected game types. That means real-time strategy, meaning... it's a game where basically you build units by gathering resources, and then you actually attack your opponent's base. You'll see in the very beginning I'm going to be spamming a lot on my keyboard. It's simply to actually just get my APM up, which basically means your actions per minute, and therefore it basically keeps your hands warm. Kind of like how a jogger jogs in place. It makes it so you can, keep your mind and your focus, in gear with the game. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, like I said, it kind of reflects upon StarCraft in one sense that there is, a large gap in skill. That kind of goes with every game and Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, though. There's a huge skill gap in between, let's say something like StarCraft, when you play against really, really good players. Same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! When you go against a very, very meta deck. If you're playing a non-meta deck, you're basically going to lose to meta majority of the time. I mean, there are times where it can win, but anyways. First off, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a card game, so there's always that aspect of luck in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's just a card game that goes with pretty much every card game, even something like poker. There are times where you just draw bad hands, and you just simply can't win because your hand is bad. It's not that your opponent outplayed you, it's just that their deck counters your deck. One excellent example would be a Synchro deck versus, say, something like a Evil Swarm deck. That deck has a huge advantage on you, and there's no reason why, they're outplaying you. It's just their deck beats your deck. It's not really your fault unless you're going to a tournament knowing that there's a lot of players that play Evil Swarm. You're like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and play Plant Synchro, which is just a bad move on your part as far as meta calling, which is another aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! But, Pink Reaper had an amazing point, which I think we should point out, that you can't really prove that you're good at Yu-Gi-Oh! You can only prove that you're bad at Yu-Gi-Oh! By making the wrong play. Unfortunately, there is a really unfortunate way to lose would be, say, something like that. Your opponent has two back rows. You have MST and you have Judgment Dragon. Let's say, for example, you MST one face down, it happens to be an MST. Maybe you MST the other card, it happens to be a Solemn Warning. Hey, at that point, that determines the win of a game simply by what? You guessing the right card that your opponent has face down that you shouldn't be able to know in the first place. So there's that aspect of the game where it's it's not your fault when you lose. Also, let me briefly explain what's going on in the game. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm going to Reaper Rush this computer that's on Cheater Insane. So that means that he has Map Hack on and he's able to see what is actually going on. This is something I like to do before I actually go into matchmaking. I like to warm up my hands, and it's really micro intensive. So basically, I am outranging all his units, and I'm just keeping my APM really high. It just basically gets me warmed up before I go into matchmaking. But another thing that I want to talk about, even if you consider yourself a pro Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, the problem is you can't actually make a living with Yu-Gi-Oh! Something like with Magic the Gathering, you can actually make a living off of playing Magic the Gathering. Yu-Gi-Oh! Just doesn't actually support it, which is kind of strange because in TCG, we always get the cards that are good in secret rare form, which causes us to buy more packs, and the original creator didn't want this game to be about money. But yet we have all these cards that, technically all the decks that are usually good tend to be more expensive. Do you want to say anything about that?
Not really.
Because you used to play back in the day.
Yeah, okay, so back in the day, when I first started playing, and I played, I need people to understand this, when I first started playing is when Yu-Gi-Oh! First existed. My first packs were two Legend of Blue Eyes, first edition booster packs. One of them had a Head of Exodia in them, in fact. The first cards I bought was a Yu-Gi starter deck, okay? Back then, there weren't a lot of good cards, but within the next few sets, suddenly really, really insanely good stuff started coming out. There was Solemn Judgments, there were Regekis, there were things like that. And a lot of these cards were insanely, insanely rare. If you wanted these cards, you had to buy an entire box. That's what happened then. You had to put tons and tons of money into it. And this was back before the days of Yu-Gi tubing. This was back before the days of the internet. No, okay, not really, but this was back when, you had to drop a lot of money to hope to get a card. Nowadays, those cards are even rarer. We are not that far removed from the days of $120 tour guides plus $150 Zen mains. Like, to say that this game isn't about money is a lie. It's so many meta decks rely on incredibly powerful, incredibly rare cards. Cards that are almost made even more rare. Like, Regeki was a super rare. Do you understand that? One of the most obscenely broken, powerful cards in the game was a super rare. You want to know what one of the secret rares was? What was it?
Thousand
Dragon. Yeah, Thousand Dragon. That was a secret rare.
I think it's funny when they release secret rares as like joke cards. Like I'm fine with that. But then again, you have to look at it like this guy bought a box of cards and he pulled this card that's worth like $1. Like you have to be pretty upset about that. But that is part of the game. It's part of the like. You could argue that it's basically gambling in one sense, yet they don't want us to play for cards at tournaments and stuff like that. But they don't even support a prize pool that allows people to make this game, as something that they can actually make a living out of, which is, in one sense, it's kind of unfortunate, but that just makes the game only there to be fun. So if you think yourself as like a super good Yu-Gi-Oh player, what have you really accomplished? Other than, happiness, because, I mean, let's be honest, at the end of the day, most of the time people play games, it's because
they want to win.
They want to have fun.
Winning is fun.
No, well, let's be honest. I have more fun actually when I lose to like a really bad deck. Like when Ice Barriers or something random beats me, I have more fun because I like to see the guy's deck, his thought process and his build of his deck.
I like when I lose to really, really like stupid stuff. Like things that you wouldn't even imagine could possibly work, and then someone gets it.
Yeah.
Like they just straight up out of nowhere drew the absolute like if they were playing an Exodia deck, they opened all pieces of Exodia right at the beginning. Like remember the slime token deck you lost to? I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard watching that video of this dude just like straight up winning with slime tokens. Like it was hilarious, but no one. At the end of the day, most people play to win. It's more fun to win, and while it is definitely more fun to win, it's very, very not fun to lose to something like, dragons, where it's like, oh, I went first, I didn't set up an amazing field, dang, I lost.
Yeah.
Like you're not even playing a game at that point.
Yeah, going back to the idea where Yu-Gi-Oh, you can only prove that you're bad at the game, not that you can prove that you're actually good at the game, is where you just have a play. There's no, I mean, sometimes there's arguable circumstances where your opponent might have a card, like they added with duality, and like you know that there's a potential that they set the card, but there's the aspect of mind games where you add a card with Torrential Tribute with duality, and then you don't set it, so then they'll think that you set something completely different, and then they'll, like 2 turns later, they'll MST it thinking that it's a torrential, but then it's secretly not. Here's my Starcraft profile because I figured a lot of you guys would ask. And also it's kind of important that I mention, in this game, in Starcraft, since it's so competitive, you can see I have 151 games played and only 80 wins. You're like, Asianized, you're so bad at this game. That's like barely over 50%. Having over a 50% win-loss ratio in this game is really good. Having like something over like 54% is considered like super, super good, because everyone that plays this game, especially in like the competitive scene, is absolutely ridiculous as far as like skill goes. As far as this game goes, I would love to get competitive at it. Going into the 1v1s is absolute suicide. My 1v1 diamond is actually from a long, long time ago when diamond was actually the highest thing that you can get. It's equivalent, I guess you could say, to League of Legends. And I think after diamond in League, it goes to like Challenge or something. Grandmasters would be like the equivalent of it. But in team games, Master is the highest, and I think that for North America, I could probably make some money if I was, going competitive in like the 3v3s or 2v2s. But for 1v1s, you're not going to win. There's people that go to the North American tournaments that are Korean, and they will win because they are just amazing at this game. They are on a completely different level. I guess you could say, topped multiple times in StarCraft in the 3v3s, getting first place, Masters, which is the highest you can actually get. But if I was to play against someone like Jaedong, I would get dong slapped so hard.
Wait, did you say Jay Dong or Jay Wong?
No, his name is actually Jaedong. They say they always have the signs that give him the dong because
dude, raise your dongers.
That's actually what it's. He has signs for that. But here's the thing: the funniest thing is he always takes second place at every tournament, even though he's significantly better than everyone. He just has this curse that he's only allowed to get second place. But I would absolutely get destroyed by him. I think he's one of the best StarCraft players in the world. But he just can't take a first place. But if I played against him, it would be Crystal Beast versus Dragon Rulers when they still had the baby Dragon Rulers. But yeah, I thought it was a great topic to discuss with you guys because I hear all the time in the comment section below, Asian Eye sucks at the game. And then I've already mentioned in several videos that I'm more of a casual player. I take Yu-Gi-Oh! As kind of like a fun game. I just have some fun with it. I like to troll all around.
I have also constantly mentioned that Azneyes is bad at this game, just saying.
Yeah, but I love the people even more when they try to white knight and they're like, no, Azneyes is really good. He's just messing around. Sometimes that's true, but there are times, like the time where I threw it in Maxi to the graveyard because I'm like, I need more Earths. But then throwing the Maxi into the graveyard not only made me go -1, but also had too many Earths.
No, okay, but I want to clarify this main point right now because we keep saying this. You can prove you're bad at Yu-Gi-Oh, but you can't prove you're good. The reason I keep saying this is, how do you prove you are good? We have long since removed all of the, like, how should I put it, the necessary things to prove that you're good at Yu-Gi-Oh! I used to say, you know, it's not so much anymore playing the game, it's knowing how to build your deck. But nowadays we've gotten to the point where it's basically just like archetype decks. You put in the cards that have already been preset for you, pre-made. Like, they just tell you how to do it. Like, you honestly think it takes a lot of skill to build a Lightsworn deck anymore?
Well, okay, let's be honest. There are a few Lightsworn cards that are completely awful. Like,
oh, I know,
the field spell.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, at this point, everyone already knows how to build these decks. So there's no deck building skill anymore. And because they're archetype decks, you just go for that archetype's plays. You don't do, like, you know, you don't have tons of different plays or whatever. You just kind of, you do it. It's like going back to playing old Dragonides. You just make Stardust over and over again and hope it causes you to win. Like, it's very difficult to actually prove you're good at the game. You just make the plays that are supposed to be made, and it's done. I play Pink Plants. I've played Pink Plants so long, if you gave me a hand, I could just tell you whether or not I could make Quasar with it. It's that simple. I've done it that many times. I just make the play at that point. So to say that you're good at a game where basically you're just following steps, it's not true. Now, you can be bad, you can not know the steps, or you can just screw them up horribly. You can throw a Max C in the grave when you don't need it. But you can't really prove that you're really good at the game. There's no skill level there. It's not like you have a strategy and then your opponent does something to screw up your strategy and now you have another strategy. Really, nowadays it's more like, I have a deck that's all about synchro summoning and I really just hope my opponent's not playing Ophion.
Yeah. Well, there are... Okay, I do want to say that there is some thought process that goes on in Yu-Gi-Oh! There are some plays where you just don't see. Like, one time I activated 1-for-1 to special summon Battle Fader, and then I returned it for Birdman, and everyone in Washer Shout was like, oh, snap, because I won that game, because then I top deck a Caius after, and I banished itself for a game. But there are some plays in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where there's... I don't know if you want to call it skill, but there's like a lot of thought process that, you know, needs to be taking place. But at the end of the day, even if you're amazing at Yu-Gi-Oh!
This goes back to my point, though. That was back when, like, playing Frog Monarchs, that was back in time when you still had multiple plays when you played your deck. Remember, when I first started playing, one of the first duels I had that I didn't record, and I'm pretty certain you still remember this, and it makes me so angry I didn't record this. No. I was playing against a Dragon player who had a Red Eyes out, and I wanted to... I don't remember what I wanted to do. I think I wanted to Black Rose the field or something. No. I summoned... I wanted to make, I remember, I wanted to make Trish. I summoned a Debris Dragon. He, I don't remember what he did. Oh yeah, he Veilered it. Uh-huh. So I chained Econ, took his Red Eyes, then re-special summoned my Debris Dragon with it, after still getting Debris Dragon's effect, because it was no longer on the field after being Econ, because I tributed it.
Trish's Dragon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So then at that point, I could still make Trishula.
Yeah.
And at that point, I just won, because I also had his Red Eyes. But like there was a couple things like that. Like remember the Rabbit player who I stole his Logia and then I banished it from my Red Eyes. Yeah. Like there are times when you can make interesting plays. But the problem is the game has become so fast. It's become so much about OTKs or just straight up you've locked your opponent, they can't play anymore.
Like, okay, Bujins is the best example of a deck. It's like one monster. Like, you can't argue that Bujins takes a lot of thought process to play. It's you summon Bujin and you try to protect it as hard as possible. I know there's going to be someone that comments on it, but let's be honest, at the end of the day, does it matter? Can you make a living off it? Not yet. I hope they do, guys. Like I said, I wish that there was better prize support in the future. Also, something it's kind of bad to talk about. The guy that created Yu-Gi-Oh! Is almost on his like last wheels, so maybe if, you know, he happens to hit the hay, they might just be like, you know what, okay, he's gone, guys. Now let's make Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive game. Let's put, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars in prize pools. Let's make this game more competitive. Not only will it support the players, but they'll make more money. So at the end of the day, that's usually what ends up happening, is whatever gets the most money is usually the decision that is, you know, taken into account. And, you know, it helps, like, everyone. I don't see a downside to making this game, you know, competitive and having a competitive scene. They also should make an MLG mode in this game where all, like, the stuff that is unquestionably unfair, like Judgment Dragon, is just not in the game, so it can be more about making
Judgment Dragon was the first really stupid card. Like, holy cow, that card.
No, I don't know. Chaos Emperor Dragon, though, like, that was pretty OP.
That one, but...
Okay, what about Last Will plus, like, Jalkin?
Okay, yeah, that was pretty. But that's 2 cards.
Yeah, that's true.
That's like saying okay, Chaos Emperor Dragon's insane, and Chaos Emperor Dragon with Yada is even more insane. But you have to do work to do that.
Yeah, that's
Judgment Dragon is just like, I have a Judgment Dragon, I win.
That is true. There's very little that you can do after it's on board. If you don't get rid of it, like, you just, like, lose. Like, it's like, cool, set D-person, set compulse. Okay, it's cool. Blow up everything. Like, it doesn't really matter at that point. But like I said, guys, I hope Yu-Gi-Oh gets more competitive. It would be really cool just to see it, because, you know, I do enjoy this game. Like I said, I consider myself awful at this game, but I have a lot of fun. And as of right now, I think that you'll have a lot more fun playing the game if you just take it as a casual game, rather than being like super serious. Oh my gosh, this guy made a bad play. He's a bad player, therefore I don't know. This game it's meant to be fun.
But don't for any reason ever play Ice Barriers.
Exactly. That's
how you prove you're a bad player.
That's the moral of the story. And then someone's gonna comment and be like, "But that one deck is so good when he goes for Acid Golem and swaps it." At that point, it's not really it's an Acid Golem deck, but it's a cool vid. Don't get me wrong, I love that guy's channel. But you know, at the end of the day, it's basically just like abusing Bahamut Shark more than anything. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Throw your thoughts and your ideas in the comment section below. Hopefully we can make Yu-Gi-Oh more competitive, like I said. But as of right now, the most fun you'll have out of this game is by not taking it seriously. Or if you want to really make money off the game, hey, play for cards or go ahead and sell cards, because you can't make a living off of playing these games, going to a tournament, winning a mat, and selling it for, you know, a couple $100 if you even get that good of a mat. Well, thanks for watching. Asian Eyes and Pink Reaper out.